It's a Thursday, January 4th. The year's already over. Hey, everybody, Ken Napzok. You get the side view today. Look at that little hair fluffs. It's been a morning already. It's been a morning. Welcome. Hi. Michael McCarsel's in chat. Says time to just right again. Finish the Q's episode of Force Center on YouTube. Hope you weren't supposed to watch that one. And the main podcast just in time for this. Unless you're talking about last week's Q's episode. There was a YouTube upload that I'm still correcting on Force Center right now. Label your files correctly is all I'll say, Detective McCarsel. Otherwise, you'll load the wrong file in. The bathrobe is on. The desk camera is going. If you're just swinging in and you're like, why is Napzok not at his studio desk? And you've never watched 20 Minutes of Coffee before. I think this is like the 19th or 20th episode. I just fire up the desk camera. I could give you want more view of the bathrobe. You get jackets hanging back there, toys on the wall. And I legitimately have my coffee. Today, it's a big one. It's the Visit Cloud City mug. And it's peppermint heavy. Peppermint heavy. This is a show where I flip over to the news, wake up and get my news. And this is every day now. We'll bring it in here. Looking here at at CNN. And as I always say, CNN's just one of the places I go, but it's the easiest to bring in for this show. You got the Hamas held her captive for 50 days. This is what she wants you to know. That's some clickbait right there, and I'm going to click on that. I'm going to read the story. I don't want to shy away from all of the stories coming out of Gaza. I don't. Or in Israel from the terrorist attack on October 7th. I want to read the good, the bad, the ugly. I don't want to shy away from it. But sometimes maybe it's too early, and I think that's fair. But we do have a shooting in Iowa High School. I don't have all the information in front of me. Been kind of getting these live updates from CNN and others because you can't go to Twitter for this kind of stuff. Which at one point I really think you could. At one point, as we talked the other day, Twitter was a news source. That for me was one of the points in time where I felt the changing tide and that it was time to update as I used to, wait for the 5 o'clock news because we all waited for the 5 o'clock news. And there was something, if you're in my age bracket or older or a little younger, you might have experienced like the breaking news updates that would happen. That you'd be watching your cartoons after school, putting off homework for another hour, watching Inspector Gadget, and then suddenly there'd be a big like boom, 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 breaking news. We go to the desk, and then that's where like some Tom Brokaw, like Walter Cronkite, John Chancellor type person would be there, or your local news guy. I'm Kent Shocknick, if y'all remember Kent Shocknick from the L.A. area. He was great, but then they'd give you the breaking news. I was trained to be terrified by that. My mom and her fears and her anxieties, and she would like hear the breaking news update logo sound, and would come running into the living room. Oh, what's going on? And bad things would sometimes follow. But that carried into my life, and I remember one time about 2008. 208, can we call it 208? 2009 range. I remember needing to go to social media first. Twitter in the early days or something like that. Maybe even a little later. The dates doesn't matter now. I'm sounding like a grandpa. And I posted on Facebook. Like there is a incident in LA, and all the local news websites are talking about cats and shop owners selling deals on the weekends and come visit them. But there's like a major news thing happening right now, and I got to go to social media, and life changed. But now you can't go. You can't go to Twitter and get exactly what you need. The Jimmy Kimmel, Aaron Rodgers, dumbass Pat McAfee mess has a lot of like the false news that we were talking about the other day on the show, and that's played out. We're gonna talk about that on Any Time tomorrow. Aaron Rodgers is an idiot, but that might have been known. And I have a huge problem with McAfee. Someone who I've no positive or negative opinion about him. He had a good little run in WWE. He was a punter. We're talking about a punter in the NFL. I don't care about a show. I don't watch it. Don't dislike it. Don't like it. But his apology pissed me the hell off yesterday. And because I was surrounded by those type of guys for years in some of those shows that you know me from, who, we're just joking. We're just joking. Oh, everyone's so serious, and you're offended by the joke. And we're a good time show. We're just a good time show. That's all we talk about. I like good time shows. I'm not above those. I'm not above being in them. I want this to be a good time show when it can be, when it needs to be. But McAfee's response was absolutely just cowardly. So we're going to talk about that more at any time. But trying to get the updates on this shooting as you try to wake up. This is what we all have to wake up to. Perry High School outside Des Moines, Iowa. Don't get confused by seeing Dallas County. I did this morning. My dad, born in Austria but raised in Fort Dodge, Iowa. Never been. But a good state, right? We like Iowa. We try to. Maybe not the politicians, but we like the people. And I don't know. The shooter's confirmed dead. That's all I know. And they're not releasing his name, even though they do know, and he has been identified. So we'll get the update on that. Another day, another shooting, and this is what we live in. This is the world we live in, and we all got to try to survive. We all got to put on our bathrobes and our beanies. It's a 51-degree day here in Burbank. And as we always say, that it's local weather, so it's cold to us, and it's very windy. Very, very windy. We got comments. If you want to join the show and be part of the comments, you got to become a channel member. That's right. Sounded like a threat. Sounded like I was making a threat, but that's what we're doing. Michael McCarcel. Yeah. Sorry about the Force Center error. Brian Taylor says, you mean we can't label our files final or final or final the final? McCarcel adds, Detective McCarcel adds, do really miss the breaking news updates. Yeah, we could talk about that in a second. Yeah, here's what happened. We had 2 Force Center episodes were recorded yesterday, and one was supposed to go up today, one was supposed to go up Friday. And every once in a while, back when the podcast was putting up 4 episodes a week, I would occasionally mess up. They're being edited. I'd forget. You're just churning out files, and you forget that, I have to cut out that. There's the famous Andres Cabrera getting up to go to the bathroom, and we stopped recording, but we were still rolling, and that made it into the show. And then I had to go back and edit it out and blah, blah, blah. And then I think it still exists because when we went to Acast, we don't know how that episode ended up back, and I can't remember the episode. So there's bonus content of Andres Cabrera going to the bathroom and Joseph and I just talking. But I labeled the Final Cut Pro 10 file wrong. I had the wrong number of episodes, the wrong Force Center episode, but I knew it. But then when I exported it, I exported both, and I thought I had the right number, but I didn't. And so I flipped them, or I had essentially 2 of the same files, loaded them in, left. That was the mistake. I left the house. I went to go have lunch. With Mark Ellis and Christian Ruvacab, but we actually ran into Katie Sackhoff there. It was a fun little reunion, and it was a lot of fun. And I come back, and I'm like, oh, cool, the uploading's done. Wake up this morning to a message. Wake up to the message that from Force Center Discord. The episode says Pulp and Ahsoka, but it's some questions episode. Oopsie. So that's where we're all at. We got horrible things going on in the world, and you're trying to load files up. So yeah, Brian, I'm with you. How many versions of the Moon Agers songs do we have? How many finals of the finals did we have? Michael McCarcel also adds, I don't know football, but even I know Aaron Rodgers is more. What happened now? What happened now was he has a weekly segment or appears all the time on the Pat McAfee show, who's a former NFL punter turned sleeveless idiot. And there was as we talked about on Tuesday's show, there was a Green Bay Packer player, and he might not have been the first for sure, tweeted out a picture of the Jeffrey Epstein flight log list, and Jimmy Kimmel's name was on there. So he tweeted it out. And so Rogers made a reference to that, a joke about that. And I'll say that I'm sure he was joking to a certain extent. That's part of the problem. As I always say, words matter. And Kimmel responded and is threatening a lawsuit. And you know what? It might be a frivolous lawsuit at this point, but do it. And Rogers could afford the financial hit, of course, but just do it. Just do it. Drag both of them. Drag McAfee. Drag the show. Drag ESPN. Though Kimmel on ABC, part of the ESPN family. And the flight list they got proven to be false. And the Green Bay Packer player, because I'm sure there's a lot of MAGA hiding in the NFL. Just look like there's a ton of MAGA hiding in MLB. It's false information, but they love to run with that false information. All right, Matty Gunner's here. There's 12 versions of the new Mourner song coming out. What a clown indeed. Michael McCarcel was saying, I do weirdly miss news updates. I do miss that stuff as well. The nightly news, local news, and world news still exists, right? And as someone who has YouTube TV currently to get me through the NFL season, you could flip on live news. I do miss the... I do miss having like the three authorities of news. And I'm not saying it was simpler times or even better times. That's always false. But I do miss the I miss going to see, Tom Brokaw. Spell that right. Look at Brokaw. He doesn't look as good these days. He's aged. There's him now. He's aged. It happens to the best of us. But I miss Brokaw, man. President Gerald Ford. Everyone, when you say the name Tom Brokaw, they immediately go to the Dana Carvey sketch. President Gerald Ford today. Brokaw. Peter Jennings, who, there's a level of ego involved in all these guys. Ted Koppel. Dan Rather. Put another bun in the oven. This one's over. Dan Rather, until he had his famous slip up and kind of had his career affected. And there's Lester Holt is good. There's some, but it's not the same. It's just like everything. It's just like everything. We have far too many choices, which is okay. Far too many places to go for your news, which is okay. Diversity of thought, diversity of perspective, and that includes the shitty ones. But it used to be the authorities. Until Peter Jennings said it, it didn't happen. Until Tom Brokaw confirmed it, you should question it. Until Cronkite, John Chancellor. John Chancellor's one of my favorites. He passed away a while ago, I do believe. But he was the narrator of the Ken Burns Civil War and baseball doc. There's John Chancellor. Just a great newscaster. Cronkite, of course, famous for what he was. But yeah, there's just something because, here I am trying to get people to listen to some of my music that Brian and Sean and I wrote with the Moon Agers. And it's like, you can't get the word out. And you can't, and we're not a live act yet. I got a tambourine. So you can't go tour, do 40 dates and build your audience. Radio is splintered and there's not the big stations that have the influence anymore. So you can't build your bands like you used to. And you can't build your newscasters like you used to. There's just too many. And while I don't ever want to go back and move back on the world, I miss what you're talking about, Michael McCarcel. Those news updates, the legends, the places that you would trust. So that's, I think, why this is sad. Sorry, I'm an a-hole. All these horrible stories right in front of me. And I'm looking at TGI Fridays abruptly closes 36 restaurants. Let's look at that. Let's look at that story. This is why I still think I go to CNN, even though I don't know if I don't know if I consider it the best news source. It's better than a lot of others, but it's at least the last kind of bastion for me of, if I'm online, I'm going to go to CNN.com to figure out what might be true. Matty Gunner says, I got the formula. I'll send it to you. Matty Gunner of the band Mourner. check it out if you like the hard stuff. And I know you do. Maddie, send that over to me. I love Maddie communicates to me versus with via WhatsApp. I love having UK friends because you gotta text them on WhatsApp, even though everyone in the world can use WhatsApp, and it's a pretty good system. But I don't have my notifications set, so poor Maddie will send me a message, and 6 days later I remember to check WhatsApp. Send it over, Maddie. I'll check. Dateline New York. Some fans of TGI Fridays were likely surprised this week when they found their local restaurant permanently closed because the chain abruptly shut down dozens of locations around the U.S. The chain said in a release that it closed 36, quote, underperforming restaurants as part of the, quote, ongoing growth strategy, which also includes a shakeup in its executive ranks and selling some restaurants back to its former CEO. A lot of drama on TGI Fridays. TGI Fridays released a list of closed restaurants to CNN, which encompasses 12 states. There's New Jersey. You're hurting this morning, New Jersey. You got the most closed locations with 7, 6 in Massachusetts, and 5 in New York. See the list below. This is the list I'm worried about. Everyone's worried about the other one. I'm worried about this one. All right, let's check if there's one in California, Fresno. Look, there's not a lot of joy in Fresno, and you're taking away their TGI Fridays. Sorry, folks, near 1077 East Herndon Avenue. Denver, Longmont, Newington. Oh, this is it, Sorry, folks. Now, this is also a sign of the times where you got problems up top, problems in management, so they hit the employees with it. There are such things as underperforming restaurants. I get that, and it's I feel you, New York and Mass and Fresno, California. When you're like, I want to go get some fried jalapeno poppers, and you turn the corner and your Fridays is gone, that sucks. There was my favorite wood ranch before the one in Burbank became my second home, was the one at the Grove in Hollywood, if you locals know. And one day I was heading there, and I turned the corner. It was gone. It was done. I was actually going to have lunch with a friend. And we're meeting there, and it was I had a text Mark Ellis, and he was like, "I know," and he's like, "I didn't want to tell you. I didn't get to as much anymore. It's your spot. It's like it's your Cheers. It's your Cheers. Boom, 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 boom. This is what we do. 20 minutes of coffee. We say goodbye to Friday's restaurants. We sip coffee, and we go through all the horrible news, and we check on the stories we want to check on, and that's okay." We got Anytime tomorrow coming your way. Where there's a lot to talk about. Oh, man, you know what I didn't do? I didn't load the right picture in again for the Moonagers. Anytime is tomorrow, 11 a.m. here on this channel. Don't forget to subscribe to the Anytime with Ken and Alden YouTube channel as well to get clips and eventually, once the year picks up here, additional content. We'll be talking about how we're on the cusp of World War III. It's easy to say that. And it's easy to read the news and kind of fall into that trap. That's the doom scrolling kind of aspect we all kind of have. I'm starting to think we actually are a couple little missteps away from World War III. That also might be because I'm in my white man middle-aged World War II doc phase in my life, and I'm currently through my second Netflix World War II doc. I watched the one with the John Boyega narration I was telling you all about. Now I'm watching World War II Path to Victory. And just a lot of the conditions, a lot of the mindsets, a lot of the anti-Semitism, a lot of the fascist rulers in power, truth being cast aside for lies and passion, nationalism. A lot of the conditions are looking very familiar. So we'll see. We'll keep an eye on that. We'll do an update. We'll do a Walter Cronkite update on the start of World War III. I'm joking, but I'm also not. Check in on that. Let's see what we can do. We need Ukraine to win. McCarsell says, I feel awful for all the people just abruptly lost their jobs. No pity for the execs. Same here, but I hate what this means for people who actually work in the restaurants. Yeah. And this happens a lot, too, where you show up to work and the restaurant's gone. I've known some friends who've experienced that horror. You put on your Friday's polo shirt and your blue jeans and grab your notepad and you head to work and you don't have a job. It happens in the restaurant business. Something I've never worked in, I want to be clear, but I have friends who managed and were general managers and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, that's right. I used to be friends with the general manager of a Red Robin. Past life. Maddie Gunner says, another friend of mine swears by Wood Ranch. I need to experience it. Yeah, when you're out here in California, the next time, Maddie, you got to seek out a wood ranch. A wood ranch. That's what you got to do. All right. That's all I got today. This is truly 20 minutes of coffee. I appreciate you all watching, becoming a channel member, and hanging out with me as I try to reconnect the wires into my brain to see how we can get through this day and get through this world. Check out the Moon Angels. I once again forgot to put the right promo in because it's not on this computer. That's the problem. It's not on this computer. So available 12/15. It's out, baby. It's out. The special one just passed 1,000 listens. So that's the Spotify golden number to start moving up. So if you're in the mood for some wonderful pop rock with a bittersweet feel to it, that's got some soul and hope, check out the special one from the Moon Ages. David McKay here saying woo as I begin to check out. All right, we're going to do it again anytime tomorrow. Football again on Monday. I got to do some Red Dead streaming. Have a lot of fun hanging out with all of you. Got some news hopefully soon on Pop Rockin' Radio, being a syndicated radio program. That is exciting. More on the way. Go hug someone you care about, because if you look at those headlines, it's tough out there. Bye, friends. Bye.